There must be a way to defeat that servitor head.
Pio, a package was delivered for you.
A package? From whom?
From Servo Pio. I checked it, and it doesn't seem booby-trapped, so it's all yours.
Are we still on for minigolf Sunday morning?
Yes, I cleared my schedule on purpose.
You're a good friend, Jeffrey.
Don't mention it.
So, why would Serupio send me a package? An expensive ring as a peace offering? Weird, but thoughtful. He's not that bad, maybe. I didn't say anything heretical today. Go away. You want this? But it's a gift. Fine, take it. Even if I imagine I will not be told why. What was that all about?
You are witness at the endless anger of the Tyranids, the devastation brought by the Orcs, the ancient hatred of the Necrons, but nothing can prepare you for the horrors unleashed by a single Halo device. Okay, hear me out.
Oh no, it's a schizorant video.
The title is not clickbait. There is something very dangerous hiding in the Koronus Expanse and the Calixis sector. Something that sheds light into the early years of the galaxy and what inhabited it before even the Eldars were around. And whatever the now lost name of these creatures was, they are still alive, and are still very much a threat to not only humanity, but all living beings. The story we are going to narrate centers around a specific categorization of artifacts found only in the Calixis sector, the Halo Stars and the territory beyond the Halo Stars, known as the Koronus Expanse. They are known as Halo devices. But before talking about them, we need to introduce to you the specific territory in which these artifacts were found, because it is a pretty important part of the story. We are going to start from the territory closest to Terra and end to the furthest from Terra. So at that point, the first question is, what is the Calixis sector?
The Calixis sector is a sector of the Imperium within Segmentum Obscurus. The Calixis sector is a relatively young sector in terms of the history of the Imperium, having been founded from the world's conquest during the Angevin Crusade that ended in the early centuries of the 39th millennium. The Calixis sector is ruled by Sector Governor Marius Hax from his seat of power on the central high world of Scintilla, and the realms he governs in the Emperor's name stretch from the coward worlds of the Marcaean Marches, Josean Reach, and Hazeroth Abyss to the Melfian subsector and Drusus Marches, which border the unexplored expanses of the Halo Stars and from which rogue traders and explorators venture into those haunted and uncharted worlds.
Which pushes us to our second question. What are the Halo Stars?
The Halo Stars. Beyond the fringes lie the Halo Stars. The entire galaxy is ringed with a halo of the most ancient stars, the majority nigh extinguished and circled by long-dead worlds. The desiccated secrets and horrors lie entombed beneath the surfaces of these worlds are best left unexplored. Few visit these regions, and even rogue traders often steer clear.
Which now leads us to the last and most important introduction. What is the Koronus Expanse?
The Koronus Expanse is the name given by Imperial authorities to a dangerous unexplored region of the Halo Stars beyond the Calixis sector. The Expanse is accessed through the Koronus Passage, a treacherous but navigable route through the great warp storms that bar passage to the Halo Stars beyond the way station of Port Wonder. As is true of the Calixis sector itself, the Expanse was untouched by the God Emperor's crusade many millennia ago, and so it is a realm of fearsome Xenos, treasures beyond imagining, heathen worlds of man, and the echoes of ancient doom. The Koronus Expanse in the 41st millennium is a scattered, partly explored region containing a few young colonies and vast natural wealth still barely exploited. Rogue traders vie with one another for known resources, heedless of lives lost in the pursuit of riches, while a tentative attempt at imperial colonization follows in their wake. Drawn by the flow of wealth, pirates and servants of the dark gods have also slipped into the Expanse, eager to cast destruction upon the works of the God Emperor's faithful, leaving by what they wrest from dead hands. while the Expanse itself holds many secrets, and native inhabitants no less dangerous. For centuries, rogue traders have braved great evils and the treacherous warp to venture into the Koronus Expanse, but their efforts have barely begun to uncover its secrets. Footholds have been built close to the few semi-stable warp routes into the area. Here, resource-rich worlds are exploited, Xenos ruins excavated, trade envoys meet with heathen lords, and colonies are attempted upon sheltered worlds. This effort has been enough to shower wealth and fame upon the fortunate, and make corpses of the rest. The gateway to the Expanse is littered with broken vessels and tales of the vanished. Beyond these human conflicts lie truly dark and dangerous voids, rife with rumored terrors, undiscovered stars, and worlds of men who have never known the God Emperor. There are no defined warp routes, no safe ways through the swirling Empyrean. These regions hold the fearsome Orc, the treacherous Elder, and strange ruins that lie beneath the light of dying stars. The warp space of the Koronus Expanse is treacherous and unknown in the main, and the partially explored regions of the Expanse are islands of Imperial activity amidst the vastness of danger and mystery.
And why we needed to introduce all three? For a very simple reason. Because when you look up all of these territories on the galactical map of the Milky Way galaxy in the 31st millennium, you realize that all three territories are located in the same portion of space. Keep this in mind, it will become important later. Now it's time to get knee-deep into the lore of the Halo devices. The Halo devices are ancient artifacts that were found in the worlds within the volume of space known as the Halo stars. A very dangerous region of space if compared to almost anywhere else in the galaxy of 40k. Halo devices are usually found on truly ancient worlds, that every time have been observed being utterly lifeless, orbiting dead stars which must have burned their brightest millions of years ago. Xeno-arcanists and rogue traders agree that these worlds were once part of some antediluvian and now long dead civilization. But what the creatures from this civilization were, or how they went extinct, is a question that has never been answered. But what can be said for sure is that whatever civilization created these artifacts was highly advanced, in both technology and in genetical engineering. So advanced in fact that they were probably superior to any other race in existence in this side of science. Whether the effects of these devices on humans are deliberate or not is not clear. If they are deliberate, it shows the malignancy of the race that created them. If the effects are accidental, it speaks of a terrifying power that could cause such a byproduct unrelated to their true purpose. We will soon delve into the effects of these artifacts, but first, there is a question to answer. What does an Halo device look like?
Usually found buried in the decayed basalt piers and shattered cyclopean ruins of their maker's civilization, long rendered into anonymity by the erosion of ages, the Halo devices themselves are always inexplicably untouched by the effects of time. Halo devices come in many forms, from smooth carbuncular talismans to strange miniature trilobite-like fossil curios and sinister orbs with fluid and glossy surfaces. All share a strange metallic feel, defy analysis by auspexes or scanners, and are nearly impervious to harm. Indeed, any force sufficient to breach one will also destroy it, making any such act worthless. All that is known of their effects are half-truths and stories passed down across the millennia. In fact, there are as many strange and unreliable fragments of lore surrounding them as there are different forms to the devices themselves.
So, now we know these artifacts are ancient, seemingly indestructible, and come from a very dangerous territory of space in different forms. But before delving into what makes them so dangerous, let's explain how the Imperium became aware of them for the first time. The first discovery of a Halo device was made on the edges of what would one day be known as the Calixis sector. It was Explorator Archmagus Kronos that discovered it in the late years of the 36th millennium. Although tales of dangerous and accursed Xenos artifacts of similar vein originated in the area millennia before, Kronos analyzed the artifacts, but discovered nothing from it, his unrefined properties remaining hidden even to the Archmagus. Kronos' fleet would return to base on the Forge World of Stragos many decades later, and it is there that an incident would occur whose details have long been suppressed by the Mechanicus. Whatever events transpired on Stragos resulted in the device being immediately identified and condemned by both Orthodox Xenos and the machine cult at large, and all those that were in contact or involved with it have been executed. When the Angevin Crusade started in 322 M39, the threat of the Halo devices was well known to the Ordos of the Inquisition, and a conclave of the Ordo Xenos traveled in the wake of Golgenna Angevin to seek signs of their corrupting presence. There is dark theories that some of the Crusade's greatest enemies were using Halo devices, and that some of those enemies may still live in secret, preserved by the blasphemous technology of the ancient artifacts. But this brings to a more important question. What are the effects of an Halo device on a living human being?
The race that made the Halo devices is believed to have existed thousands of millennia ago, and may even predate the Eldar. The devices use a process completely beyond the understanding of Imperial law to manipulate the body and mind of those they bond with, making the host extremely difficult to kill, and effectively mortal. However, the price paid is madness, loss of humanity, and strange thirsts and addictions such as the need to consume blood and flesh. Halo devices have a more profound effect on those they bond with as time passes. Those who have been bonded for several decades may only be slain by the complete destruction of their physical form, and numerous strange powers are said to be granted to them over time as their body grows even more alien. Their devices also alter the mind of those they bond with, fusing their intellect with one of an unknown origin, destroying the host's personality and identity completely.
The Inquisition instantly took on the task of stopping the spread of these artifacts in the remote regions of the Halo stars, and then the Koronus Expanse, hunting those who traffic in the Halo devices and mercilessly destroying those who are coming into contact with them. Dedicated cells of acolytes have spent their entire careers researching and hunting out Halo devices. Congregations of Inquisitors have been created and have died in the war against these malignant relics from the Halo stars past. The earliest confirmed instance of conflict with one of these artifacts came from what was at the time the frontier world of Xenofia Magna, around 100 years before Angevin's crusade. During what is named in official Ordo sources as the Xenofian Prosecution, Lord Inquisitor Ozymandias Ruthven destroyed the heretic scion of a great and wealthy mercantile house of Xenofia. The heretic's name was expunged instantly from all records, but his influence ran through the Segmentum Obscurus even to the borders of Segmentum Solar itself, and it was said that he possessed the natural powers, and that he could not die. The crimes and secret atrocities committed by this foe of mankind and his kin were so grievous as to merit execution not only for himself and his close associates, but also for all of his house and its vassals. It became clear during this prosecution that the heretic was not a chaos worshipper, a mutant, or a witch, but that his body was a hideous fusion of polluted human flesh and xenological artifact that had become so much part of him that the heretic and the artifact were indivisible. It is recorded that Ozymandias ended up hurling this creature into the heart of Xenofia's sun, and thus seemed to kill it for good. This, however, created more problems. Illicit trades of Halo devices in the Halo stars and the Koronus Expanse was a growing issue, even after the decree of the Inquisition that any found trafficking with one of these relics would be summarily executed. But the legend of these so coveted objects that could grant immortality kept spreading, and the most affluent people in the regions where they can be found started hunting for them, especially for the youth and eternal life bestowed by them. Gladly, concrete knowledge that these objects are real is rare, and the richest to obtain one rarer yet. But some people still manage to get their hands on them. And their new purpose is at first to hide that they have committed the ultimate crime by simply possessing one, and at the same time hiding the side effects of the Halo devices on their bodies and minds. The Halo devices are not easy to identify. They come in many forms, but most are small and easily confused with odd jewelry, small pieces of armors and curious miniature statuary. Their form has zero influence on their powers. Some commonly encountered forms are spheres, also known as Halo Oculus, as they are as big as an eye and of the same shape. Once the device starts bonding with its host, their form will often change, as it fuses itself with the user's flesh. There is one thing to keep in mind though, that is very important for later in the video. The device doesn't infect anybody that is a chaos worshipper, is possessed or in any way mind-controlled, so either from demons or even the hive mind of the Tyranids, and it refuses also to bond with Psykers. The device will not accept any master or influence but itself in its new host. Or, to put it more simply,
it's choosing, John. It's choosing who to infect.
The Halo devices will begin to bond with and change any person who has prolonged contact over several days or weeks with them. This contact may be as simple as wearing the device as a piece of jewelry or keeping it in a pocket. However, embedding the device in an open wound may well speed up the process dramatically. Once the device has bonded with his new host, it begins to alter them. This process has been observed happening in 3 different stages. Once a person is in the primary phase of infection, there is no turning back, and the only way to stop the mutation is to destroy them. Primary phase, after the bonding process is completed. Within a short span of time, ranging from a few weeks to a matter of hours in rare instances, the device becomes fully physically bonded with the user's flesh. The user starts rejuvenating so that he's in the peak of youth and health. Any physical diseases, deformities, minor mutations, or other long-term medical conditions that the host was suffering are negated. Any part of the user's body that has been lost regrows during this phase, in a slow and painful process. His senses become superbly attuned, he moves with an unnatural grace, and he shrugs off all but the most grievous wounds. Even as his body gets stronger, the user's mind begins to break. He starts to discover that he finds no pleasure in normal sensory stimuli, like the food that will start tasting like ash. And he starts suffering from violent mood swings. As time progresses, he learns that he no longer requires sleep, except for a few comatose hours every few days, during which he suffers fierce phantasmagorical dreams of alien vistas and strange cities beneath mysterious stars. Secondary phase, after several years of contact. Over time, the device insinuates itself completely in the user's body and becomes partially absorbed in the cellular makeup of the body itself. The area where the device bonded to the flesh begins to change, becoming mottled and tough like the exoskeleton of an insect, or becoming desiccated and cold like that of an embalmed corpse. The body of the user heals almost any damage, and is inhumanly fast, strong and resilient. He no longer sleeps, eats, or drinks normal food, but as he slips further into madness, he develops a strange addiction and insatiable hunger that he must regularly satisfy, or he will grow increasingly unstable and sickly. These addictions often include spending long periods in total darkness or immersion in solar radiation, and the hungers are often for substances like human tissue, such as blood, flesh, and cranial fluid. The user also finds that he has memories of strange alien civilizations, languages, and scripts meshing with his own, and may lose large chunks of his own memories. If the Halo device user is killed during this period and his body is not destroyed, burned to ash or dismembered, and if the Halo device is not removed from his corpse, there is a chance that within several days, his body will repair itself and reanimate. This resurrection drives him irrevocably insane, and he immediately progresses to the tertiary phase. Tertiary phase, after decades of contact or after dying and resurrecting. There is no longer any separation between the user and the Halo device whatsoever. His body becomes visibly altered, remaining humanoid but no longer human. Instances of burning, radiant eyes, corpse-like flesh, distorted gaunt features, mottled or armored hide-like skin, and even a fine beetle-like carapace are all recorded. And almost in every case, the fingers of the hands transform into long talons of exposed bone. The thing that was once human is now so strong it can rip a man's head from his shoulders with ease, survive naked into the void of space, and it is capable of coming back to life when killed. The mind that once spiraled towards madness is gone, and in its place is something else entirely. Something formed from an unholy union of intellects. Something that can speak in long-dead tongues and brood on all too human desires with inhuman patience. If the user is killed at this stage, but his body is not destroyed, he reanimates in a matter of days, and is very, very hungry. Even if he's rendered down to mangled bones or burned ash, should the remains be immersed in human blood and flesh and exposed to high electrical current or radiation, there is a chance he will be resurrected, his body reforming in minutes from a maelstrom of blood and unnatural energies. But no documented case of this ever happening is at present recorded, although it is still rumored to be true. The Inquisition is always active in the hunt for these relics, and the people already mutated by them, but it is currently unknown how many have already fallen to the baleful energies of the Halo devices. However, even the Inquisition knows that in some secluded tower or sealed estates, monsters undoubtedly lurk, their once human form twisted by cursed artifacts that promised eternal life. But there is one story we're actually aware of a noble that decided to risk his being for immortality, and use one of the dreaded Halo devices. His name was Titus Nefandiel. I'll let Giulio do the honors of narrating his 3 stages of infection.
Primary stage. Titus Nefandiel, the aging and morally bankrupt scion of a noble house of immense wealth, has obtained his true desire, the key to eternal youth via a Halo device. Capricious and cruel, he has now returned to the vitality and looks of his youth. He leads a double life now, both as master of his house and as murderous Raquel. impersonating a minor relative he murdered to maintain his new identity. Devilishly fast, fit and strong, he is able to indulge in any vice with little side effects, and the little knife wound taken in an underhive brawl barely makes him break stride. His mind, however, has begun to slowly crumble, and one by one his pleasures lose their lustre. Paranoia and violent mood swings set in, and he hears strange voices whisper to him in the dark. Soon his excesses force him to act only in the shadows, and he begins to keep a guard of cruel paid killers around him. Secondary stage. Years pass and, as the device roots more deeply in his body, the outworldly healthy noble takes to wearing the elaborate clothing to hide the creeping transformation of his flesh. His reputation blackened by dark rumors, he retreats largely from public life, kept safe only by his wealth and ruthlessly applied power. All but a few intimates are kept from getting too close, and he secretly has developed a cannibalistic addiction to human flesh that he struggles to contain. Though he has little need for weapons now, he still carries a power sword sheath at his side that, if called on, he wields with such strength that it will barely take a single blow to split a bullgrox. Only the most hardened killers and depraved of company can stand his presence now. Tertiary stage. Now decades have passed since his bonding with the device, and Nefandiel hasn't been seen outside his personal estates for years. He is believed by many to be long dead. The one-time society rake sees no one, and runs his teetering financial empire through intermediaries, while his nightmarish abode is attended only by a few insane sycophants, mute servitors, and dumbly loyal servants. Beneath the deeply hooded cloak, his body appears more insect than human, and none that meet his gaze doubt that the dark stars burning in place of his eyes contain anything but an ancient and alien malignancy. The appetites of the thing that was Nefandiel have grown over the years, and now the string of disappearances surrounding his estates is drawing too much suspicion for his few remaining agents to bribe their way out of or conceal. Any interlopers who discover his secret may well wish they had not, however, as the thing he has become is powerful and terrible far beyond any mortal man, and he has long eschewed the use of blades for weapons of his own flesh.
This video is being made only now because I was made aware that the Halo devices have reappeared, in a piece of 40k media nonetheless.
This came out during a lore hangout with Patreon members on Discord. We do them every Sunday and they are open to everyone of the rank of PO Startis or more, so give it a thought. You could inspire next video by joining.
The Halo devices in fact appeared in the recently produced video game of Rogue Trader, of which I possess the collector edition, and in fact I am also in the special thanks section. PO isn't, so I win this one. It can be acquired by following a rumor that leads to a secondary mission known as One Way Road, where your Rogue Trader and his retinue will enter the decaying palace of a planetary governor, only to find out that he's indeed in possession of an Halo device. Let's look at what we can find there. First thing we find, before even reaching the noble, is a broken vox containing a recorded message sent out from a servant of the palace towards his lover.
I cannot go on like this, Helena. I cannot. I served my master loyally, as did my father and his father before that, but this cannot continue. No, I am tired. To bury the corpses of murderers and traitors to the Imperium is the noble thing to do, but now I must conceal the deaths of these innocent young men and women. They're almost children. Cursed be the day when the governor became the ruler of this world. I will break this vicious circle. This I promise. Tonight I will flee the States, and together we will journey to the Star Speakers. They will warn the servants of the God Emperor about the heresy lurking in these walls. They will return for us. They will save us. Just wait for me, Helena. Just wait until I return.
Delving deeper into the palace, we can find the noble that Vox message was talking about.
A lushly dressed, vaguely human-like carcass sits reclined in a massive Calixian oak armchair. Callosed brownish-blue patches cover the dead flesh, overlapping one another like snake scales. One of the hands, claws of exposed bone, supports a grotesquely bloated face.
At a closer glance, you can notice that the noble is not breathing, and the entirety of your crew will start freaking out about what they are witnessing. The psychically sensitive ones more than the others. As you get closer, you get to see more of the creature that is now wearing the skin of the noble.
As you take a step forward, the creature's eyelids flutter open, searing you with the unnatural glow of its yellow pupils. The disfigured lips twist, stretching the smile wider and wider, until the thin skin bursts with a sharp snap, revealing row after row of pointed teeth. A twisted guttural voice burst from the creature's throat, and it rose with laughter.
One of your companions might try to shoot the noble in the head, succeeding and seemingly opening an hole between his eyes, but that will be of no use.
A long snake-like tongue emerges from the creature's mouth and licks its own blood, savoring it like wine. The wound from the shot heals before your very eyes, as if it was never there.
Welcome to my feast.
The creature idly jiggles its chins in an effort to remember human speech, its jowls melding into its shoulders and faintly glowing ribcage. A peculiar accessory shaped like a scarab and covered in luminous patterns has painfully lodged itself into the flesh of the creature, something that undoubtedly used to be a man.
If you have Heinrichs with you, he will be sternly aware of what he's staring at.
Rogue trader, stay back! Heinrichs grabs his weapon, and the air around you shimmers with otherworldly frost. The bearers of the Halo devices pose a great threat even to the finest agents of the Inquisition. They are fast, strong, immune to poisons, and... Heinrich stammers. Immortal.
At that point, you can choose to face the monster either to destroy it or to take the artifact, but his answer will always be the same.
Wat om de stefax ons pikulaf was korante.
The elucidator fails to interpret the twisted speech taking root in your mind like a pestilent weed. The creature contentedly smacks its lips.
I will finally taste the savory flesh again.
After you defeat the monster, you can choose to loot it, and on his corpse you will find an halo device. And following the lore, do you know what its effects are? First thing, if you decide to equip it, it can be unequipped for the rest of your playthrough of the game. It has bonded with you, and it is there to stay. Secondly, it grants 25 strength, toughness, agility and perception. It changes all skill checks of the game to those specific abilities it is already boosting, makes you immune to injuries and traumas, and makes you regenerate 2 wounds every turn. In addition, whenever you kill an enemy, any damage you inflict is increased by 1% until the end of combat, while the non-boosted stats of your character are reduced by -1 every kill until the end of combat. In addition, wearing the device and then finishing the game locks you into the following ending slides depending on the belief of your character.
Iconoclast. Sparing just a few hours a day for sleep and food, the rogue trader worked for the benefit of the downtrodden, not affected by exhaustion of the burden of his years. Yet with time, strange rumors began to spread. It was said that not everyone who entered the gates of his palace on Dargonus would live again. Obvious slander claimed that the rogue trader had acquired a taste for innocent in his later years, and that he enjoyed consuming the flesh of defenseless victims. Dogmatic. Over the years, many in the rogue trader's retinue noticed strange changes in his behavior. With no apparent need for sleep or food, the rogue trader delivered justice while retaining his youth and physical strength. Some said that the only dish he would eat was the marrow of convicted criminals, a delicacy introduced to his lordship by Incendia Corda. No conviction. For many years, the rogue trader won many victories and undertook daring expeditions. Time and fatigue bore no power over him. However, with time, dark rumors began to emerge about his lordship. People said that the rogue trader had acquired a vengeful taste for the flesh of those who had tried to make a pawn of him. Continued all. Others who were better informed kept quiet about the Xeno artifact the rogue trader had acquired and thereafter kept constantly on his person. As the years passed, it quite literally became a part of his lordship. The skin that grew over the artifact hid the vermilion glyphs inscribed on the strange accessory's surface.
And now we come to the final part of the video, my theory as to what these objects are, and the dark conclusion that I have reached with my research into them. I have seen many theories formed around them. Dark connections to the race made extinct by the Angevin Crusade, known as the Yuvat, or claims of connection with another race that is said to predate even the Eldar in origin, like the Crave. But I can tell you that those theories are wrong. There is no discernible connection to be drawn by all info we have at our disposal. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an answer, and I do genuinely believe I have found that answer.
And what is the answer?
The answer is as dark as it is simple. The Halo devices are not simply artifacts of a long-extinct Xenos race. They are DNA containers, or even worse, genetical engram containers of an ancient and now extinct alien species.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure, Pio. The first piece of the puzzle is in the wording given in their section in the Disciples of the Dark Gods game manual.
Given the proscribed nature of Halo devices, it is unsurprising that rumor and supposition persist as to their powers and use. The truth, however, is that the devices will indeed grant their possessors what he seeks: youth, vigor, and undying power, but in such a manner only the most deranged will choose. Over time, the devices become a part of their possessor's body and mind, changing him according to alien inclination and subjugating him to strange thirsts. The life of a possessor of a Halo device becomes less his own and more that of the device itself.
The wording is very specific. The device is not taking control of you, and it is not mutating you. It is overwriting you directly. That also explains the strange dreams, visions, and memories the user starts having throughout the stages. They are not having visions. Those are not side effects of the device. Those are the intended effects of the device. If the device itself is a genetical bank that, as we already discussed, chooses who to infect, and more specifically even tries to lure its victims in using some kind of strange mind manipulation impulse, that in the game is represented as you need to pass a willpower test to resist the device and avoid putting it on immediately, it means two scary things at the same time. The first is that obviously the devices are fully aware of their surroundings and are indeed intelligent. And the second is that the purpose of the device is to bring back to life the creature that created it and is stored inside of it. Because think about it, where are these devices found usually? Dead worlds filled with alien ruins, usually orbiting dead stars that died millions of years ago. This is even confirmed in the main Rogue Trader manual in the section of the Halo artifacts.
Halo artifacts or Halo devices have been known to select arch-heretics, recidivists, and the holy orders of the Inquisition for millennia, ever since renowned explorators and rogue traders of antiquity returned from the Halo stars bearing these devices, along with tales of corpse stars and disturbing picked records of dead Xenos worlds.
Additionally, these devices are found only in a selected territory of the galaxy, which is Segmentum Obscurus, and specifically the Calixis sector, the Halo stars, and the Koronus Expanse, which all fall in the same territory of space with each others. So, time to lay out my theory in full. My theory is that eons ago, long before the Eldars and probably at a time where the species of the Crave was still young, a Xenos species existed, probably one of the first ever life forms created by the Old Ones in the Milky Way galaxy. An experiment, so to say. But this Xenos race was malignant in nature, highly advanced, almost immortal. And seeing the amount of dead stars and dead worlds that have been found in that section of space, an highly destructive Xenos race that was wreaking havoc upon the galaxy itself. These Xenos grew so dangerous and powerful on a technological level that probably a galactic war erupted to kill them for good. Or maybe it was the Old Ones themselves that, seeing their creation spiral so out of control, decided that it was better to purge it and start from the beginning again. Whatever happened, this Xenos race was annihilated. But they were advanced enough, smart enough, and resourceful enough to manage to cheat death entirely. They created the Halo devices, genetical and engrammatic storage devices, designed to preserve them for eternity as they were wiped out from the galaxy. These devices would lay dormant until they were believed gone for good, and then started waking up, luring people to them with their partial mind control so that the device could take its intended effect upon other living beings. Remember, it rejects anything that it can't 100% fully influence and control, and that is because it wants no other master for the vessels it chooses. The purpose of the Halo devices is to act as a parasite to revive a now eons old and long extinct Xenos species that is clinging to life so heavily that the only way they had to escape their annihilation was to die and then be reborn through other living beings. And I can already see people comment that, yes, but you don't need to inject yourself with the Halo devices for it to take hold. Even wearing it is enough. That is indeed correct, because it might be emitting its corrupting influence like a radio signal to the host it wants to infect, like another relic of the universe of dead space known as the Markers.
You can kill the prophet, but you can't kill the god. Your chance to warn the earth has come and gone. We are coming. We are hungry. We are here.
That explains why you don't even have to touch the devices to be infected. Even just wearing one on your person or having one in your pocket is enough for it to take hold. This was their last resort, and we don't know how many Halo devices are roaming the darkness of the stars at any given moment, nor how many have already brought back these creatures to life. All that we can know is that they are once again here. They are almost unkillable, and given enough time, there might be enough of them to reform their now extinct Xenos Empire. And if that happens, who knows how how many will die to try and stop them, and who knows if they will even be capable to stop them for good. The threat they represent is so heavy that even Renegade Inquisitor Arian Eftis noted that what is dead should stay dead, no matter the desires of mortal creatures.
Beyond those forbidden heights, gated and bound by bonds that man shall never break, waits a throne the gods will fear to take.
Wait, then that gift from Servo Pio? The ring! It was an halo device!
Took you a hot minute to realize it, Pio.
But that's so mean! Servo Pio has really crossed the line with this one. Now he has to answer for his actions.
And how will you make that happen?
With a strongly worded letter, obviously. Men should face each other's face to face, and duel like the warriors of old duelled, by seeing who can commit the most war crimes in the shortest amount of time.
El Presidente Servo Pio, seems your plan of using a halo device to defeat your arch-enemy Pio failed. New orders?
It was always a shot in the dark, don't worry, I have more ingenious plans to contrast my arch-nemesis.